What's up, YouTube? It's TF Collector, and the time has finally come. Today I will be transforming and reviewing the Transformers Studio Series 86 Devastator. Now, I do have individual reviews for each of these fine Constructicons already up on the channel. There is also a Studio Series 86 Devastator playlist. If you want to check that out, you can watch them all in order in the way that I reviewed them. Now, in those videos, I did in-depth reviews of the robot and alt modes and their transformations from alt mode to robot mode. So if you want to see all that, that will be in the individual reviews. Today, we will only be transforming them from alt mode into combine mode and combining and reviewing Devastator. Now, the instruction manual where you get all the steps to transform these guys into combine mode come with the Commander Class 2-pack of Hook and Long Haul. So those should be where your instructions come from, but we're going to go ahead and get started with Scrapper. And now, starting with Scrapper, of course, in alt mode. We'll start with all of them in alt mode. Let's go ahead and transform this guy into his combine mode. So the first thing we want to do is take this piece and just bend it forward like so. Then you want to get your nail in here and get a hold of that little green panel. And you're basically going to flip it around like so. And it will tab in under here to lock all of that into place like so. Now what you're going to do is come under here, undo these two pieces like so, and that will make it easier to split this middle section. So just go ahead and split that. Mine does like to fight me a little, but go ahead and split that for now. And what we need to do is untab his arms, bring them out. You can see they just tab in there. Untap his other arm, and then also extend them down here at the base. Rotate 180 degrees. Tab that back in, and then what the instructions want you to do, which is what I'll show you to do, is to rotate this piece 180, bring the arm around the other way, and flip the hand out. Yes, I know that's ugly, but that's how the instructions want you to do it. I kind of disagree. I don't do it, so you don't have to, but for review purposes, I'll do it. So just bring that around, tab that back in, rotate that 180, bring that elbow around the other way, and bring the hand out. And now what we can do is just fold these pieces back and down. We'll tab all this back in later. Come here to this piece, rotate it 180 for now, and that is how we want Scrapper looking before we go into combine mode. And next up, we will go ahead and transform Bone Crusher. So the first thing we want to do is come under here and untab his legs on each side like so, so that you can pull out this section. You want to rotate it so that this side is facing forward. This is the side I like to face forward. You can really use either side, but I think this side is better. So rotate so that side is facing forward, and then come under here. You want to bring this side in on the ankle pivot and bring this panel down. You can kind of see a tab I'm using to get it out under there. And now those two tabs there are going to those two slots there. And you also want to make sure these two pieces tab back together. So just tab these together and then tab those two sections together. And that is all we need to do with Bone Crusher for now. And now turning to Hook, the first thing we will do is extend his arm here and fold that piece under like so. And now we can really get started with what we want to do here. So basically come here and untab these arms and just bring them down on either side. For now, we will put one of them back up later, and you just want that looking like that for now. Now you can go ahead and push this piece over to the side like so. So you want that slid over. You can see once again, I'll give you another angle. It was in the middle, slide it over to the side. That's how you want that looking. And now what we can do is I like to just get the crane out of the way for now so we can do this next little part a little bit easier. Basically, what we're going to want to do is split him in two. So you basically want to untab all this, make sure you get his feet untabbed, and everything under here is untabbed. And then you can see everything will start to extend. Now the head of Devastator does have two slots right there that tab in down into that tab and that tab on that side. Make sure you get those untabbed. But then you're basically just playing with a bunch of hinges. You want to make sure you extend it all. I kind of just give it a little shake. And then you can see you have a tab there, slot there. Just tab that in, and now we can get that crane arm back around the other way. and make sure that stays slid down like that. Make sure these feet stay tabbed in now, and come under here and flip this little tab down like so. Now you want this arm to stay down, and you want to push his hand in, exposing that tab. Now this hand, on the other hand, they kind of have it just pointing down. What I like to do is just fold the wrist in and have it tabbed back in up there. That's the way I think it looks best personally, so that's the way I'm going to have it. Now for the arm connections, we're going to want to open this piece, bring this out, close that up. On this side, you just want to get your nail in there and kind of get this piece out, and it will swoop into place. And last but not least, for Devastator's head, you just want to bring it up. It will tab into that tab right there, so just tab that in, rotate 180, open this piece up, bring his faceplate forward, close that piece down, and there you have Hook ready for combination. And for long haul, we do have two bits here. We're going to start with this bit here in the front. So you just kind of want to untab his legs so you can slide this piece off. Put this off to the side. We'll come back to that here in a moment. But let's go ahead and start with long haul. So the first thing I like to do is go ahead and get his legs up and out of the way. And basically, you can see two tabs, slots down in there. Make sure you get these arms out of the way first, because we will need to do something different with those. But just untab it from where it currently is and tab it into those two slots right there. And then if it doesn't do it for you, you can see this piece will basically fold over top and everything will sit like that. Now what you want to do is take the arms and bring them around. Now you want to make sure this tab here is facing outwards. So we want to make sure the tab is facing out. And then you want to bring the wheel up like so. And that tab there will go into that slot there. So just line all this up. That tab will tab in like so. Once again, make sure that tab is facing out and that tab is facing upward. And do the same thing on the other side. Rotate this so that that tab there is facing outward. Bring the arm up and tab it in right there. Oh, missed. Strike one. Let's see if we can get it before we strike out. Oh, maybe. I don't know. He's wanting to fool with me now. He's throwing me a curveball. Come on, long haul. Tab in. Come on, buddy. He's never done this before. He's a little camera shy. Little camera shy. There we go. Just get that tabbed in. I don't know why it did that. That's the first time that's ever happened. But to finish this up, we basically just want to fold his legs back down like so. Fold this leg back down. Tab them back together here in the back. And then this heel piece will flip forward, and this tab here will go into that slot there. So just line that up, tab that in, same thing here, line it up, tab it in. That will hold all that together, and there is long haul ready for combination. And for long haul's trailer, the first thing we will do is go ahead and pop these wings off the side. We'll come back to those at the end of the transformation. Also, get this piece up and out of the way, pop that piece off, and pop his two missile launchers off as well. So just get all that off, and you want it looking like this. And now we can transform this into kind of the frame of the combination. So the first thing we're going to want to do is just come under here, get this piece, fold it up, and get it out of the way. We can come here, bring these two pieces up. They will meet in the middle and tab together. So just tab those two together like so. Untab these panels from the legs, like so. Untab this panel from the legs, like so. And then just bring the legs down. They are on nice ratchets, like so. Bring the hip skirts down. And then for this section, basically, you're just going to fold it up. So fold this piece up. You want this piece kind of sitting like that at that 90-degree angle. Fold this piece down, everything will tab in, and that is how you want all that looking. And that is the long haul trailer ready for combination. And now we move on to Scavenger, who is very similar to Bone Crusher in his transformation. But the first thing we'll do is just compress that for now. We might come back and pull that out a little bit later, but come under here and untab his legs, take this whole piece, and bring it down like so. Push that purple piece upward like that. And now what you want to do is bring this panel here down. You can see what I'm saying, very similar to Bone Crusher. Bring that up on the heel, or the ankle pivot rather. Bring these two together. They will tab together, and then rotate this piece so that this black side with the slot there is facing forward. And there you have Scavenger almost ready for combination. We'll come back to him in a bit. And of course, last but not least, we have Mixmaster. So let's get right down to it. The first thing we need to do is untab his arms from the side here and just rotate them back like so. So do the same thing on this side. Untab that arm, rotate it back like so. Come up here, open this section. Just leave that open for now. Come down here and take this piece, untab it, and swing it all the way around to the top and tab it back in. You do have to play with the hinges a little bit, but that should tab in right there, nice and flush. Make sure those arms stay back. And the last thing to do is come here, bring the heels all the way down, bring these two pieces down. They will tab in, and then bring the heels up to where they foop into place. And there you go. There you have Mixmaster ready for combination. So let's combine Devastator. So the first bits we want to use are Long Haul and Long Haul's trailer. And to put these two together, basically this big purple section is going to go up in to this groove here, and these two pieces right here are going to go into these two grooves right here. So this can be a little fiddly. I find it easiest if you put these back sections into their grooves first and just get that all lined up and then pull forward to get the rest of it locked into place. So let's see if we can do it on the first try. Just get all that pushed down and locked into place, and that is how you want this section looking. And then we can bring in Hook, and basically what's going to happen here, if I can show this all, this purple clip here is going to go into this section. This clip here is going to go into that square section there on Hook's foot. This tab here on Hook's arm is going to go into that slot there, and these two tabs on each side here are going to go into slots on each side. So let's go ahead and see if we can line this all up. So just line, I like to line this purple one up and the black one there that goes into the square. Just line all that up, push it down, push this side down so everything goes into place, and then you can kind of lock in these side ones that go into the side. You can see that one locked in there. See if we can lock this one into the foot on this side like so. And last but not least, come back here and make sure that hand snapped into place there. Just give everything a little pull, and he's getting tall. He's getting tall. We need to raise a little. Here is how you want Devastator looking so far now. And now we will make Devastator grow quite a bit. So bring in his legs, Scrapper and Mixmaster. I like to start with Scrapper. So what you want to do here is you can basically see there's this little tab here that basically goes into this groove right here. And there's another groove on this side for the other tab. I find it easiest if you start with the inside groove. So basically, if I can show an angle of this, just line that groove up with that tab. Push that all the way in like so. And then take this other side, push it in and tab the two legs together like so. You'll basically lock them in with these two tabs going up into those two slots, and these two pieces here on the cockpit section going into these two little grooves right here. So just push that up, lock all that in like so, and then come around here to the back and tab these two pieces back in. And I like to give him one little ankle click. I find he has a lot more standing stability if you do so. So give him that click there and bring in Mixmaster. And basically he's just going to slide onto this piece here, right there. So just slide him right on and then tab this piece over top of it. Once again, one ankle click is best for stability in my experience. And as you can see, Devastator is getting to be a very big boy. And apologies for the poor lighting. Hopefully you will be able to see the rest of this combination transformation pretty decent. But the first thing we're going to do is bring in Bone Crusher. And you can see there's a little groove there. Basically just slide that over top of this piece. And there's also a tab here on Long Haul that will go into that slot right there. So basically just slide him on. You want to make sure he slides all the way like so. You should hear a little thoop and then come around here and make sure Long Haul tabs into this side. So just line that up, make sure that tabs in, and then we can also bring in Scavenger, and basically the same thing, groove, tab, same thing on this side pretty much. Just slide him over top of that like so, and then come around here and make sure Long Haul tabs into place. And there you have half of an arm on Devastator, but he needs some hands. So bring in your 2 missile launcher pieces that come on the trailer of Long Haul. Push the tab in, pull the hand out, and rotate it so that the hand is oriented properly. Same thing on the other side here. Push that tab in, pull the hand out, and rotate so it's oriented properly. And as you can see, tab post and tab will go into port and slot on this side. So make sure you line all this up and just push that in. Same thing on the other side. Port, tab. There you go. Post, port, whatever. I get them confused. But plug it all in. And now Devastator has hands. But Devastator also needs a chest. And to give Devastator a chest, we will bring in these 3 pieces. And basically, you just want to tab them into the side here. So just tab this one in like so. Bring your other one in. Tab it in like so. And basically how this is going to go on, you can see there's a little groove here for these 2 tabs. There's a little clip that will go over this section. 2 tabs that will go into these 2 slots, and 2 tabs that will go into these 2 slots. So basically, I find it easiest if you line that groove up with the double tabs here on hook. So just line that up and push it on, and then you can tab them into the arm on each side. And there he is in all his beauty. Studio Series 86 Devastator. And Devastator is glorious. He's beautiful. And once again, sorry for the glares. My lights are not used to massive figures. But pulling him in close so we can take a look at the detailing, hopefully, try to get a little bit of light on it. You can see that head sculpt is beautiful. Nice gunmetal gray with the silver and the red visor down to the chest with the Decepticon logo. Of course, the accurate detailing and the purple coming down the whole body. Just nice detailing there on the crotch area. Of course, you've seen most of this. It is just the alt modes all put together. But I think it turns out absolutely beautiful. Now, backpack-wise, he does have a bit of a backpack, and I think that's been a complaint some people have had. But me personally, I don't really stare at the back of my figures, and from the front view, this guy looks awesome. And, of course, in opposed to the Combiner Wars Devastator, this guy is packed with some articulation. So the head can rotate a full 360. It can't really look up and down due to it not being on a ball joint. The arms can rotate full 360s. They can move in and out. You do have swivels above the elbows, and not 90 degrees, but at least you get some bend there at the elbow. You do get wrist rotation, which is awesome, and the hands can open and close. Yes, you do get waist rotation. Beautiful. Love it. You can move the hip skirt up, and of course, on this nice ratchet, the leg can kick forward that far, back, not quite as far because it's going to hit the backpack there. Outwards, you can almost get a full split there. You do get thigh rotation. You do get about 90 degrees of bend at the knee. No rotation at the ankle, but you do get some ankle tilts on both sides. So overall, for a massive combiner, Devastator has some very good articulation. And as far as accessories go, first we will talk about the accessories of all your Constructicons, which can all be stored here on the robot mode. I'm going to show you the way I do it. There are tabs all over the place on the arms. You can have him holding any of them. I'm going to show you the way I store all of them, though. Turning first back here to this port, which is where I like to place Bone Crusher's little gun right there on the side of that arm of Hook. I like to tab that in there. And then what I like to do next is come here to this tab and put Long Haul's gun right there, right on top of Long Haul. Sorry if you hear my dogs losing their minds in the background. I'm not sure what's up with them. But what I like to do is take Scrapper's gun and post it onto Scrapper here. I like to have it facing downward so you don't really see it from the front view. And I also take Mixmaster's gun and I plug, that is not Mixmaster's gun, that is, and I plug it right here onto the back of Scrapper, just so I have them both stored together there. And then Hook's gun, they do make a cool way of storing it where you can tab it onto that little tab right there. But me personally, that's not the way I like to do it. I like to come down here to Mixmaster and put it right there, like so. And then you can take Scavenger's gun and basically do whatever you want. But me personally, I just put it on this side where Scavenger is, so I know it's his gun. And that's how I store all the Constructicon guns. But Devastator does come with his big old gun. I'm pretty sure that came with Scrapper, and you basically just plug these two pieces together like so. And now you can, of course, have him wielding his weapon. Just plug it into the hand right there. And now you have your massive Devastator all armed up. And now for some comparisons with this big old guy. We're basically just going to rapid fire through them. First, here he is with Studio Series 86 Leader Megatron. With Studio Series 86 Commander Optimus Prime. With Studio Series Gamer Edition Deluxe Class Devastation Optimus Prime, which is supposed to be in scale with him, and I think they look pretty good together. With Studio Series 86 Leader Class Galvatron. With Studio Series 86 Leader Class Coronation Starscream, who disrupts his coronation. With another big boy, the Age of the Primes Titan Class Star Optimus Prime. And yeah, he's still way bigger than Devastator. This guy is absolutely huge. And for one last figure comparison, here he is with the Combiner Wars Titan Class Devastator. Let me extend the tripod. Look at them. This guy, of course, way bigger, but in my personal opinion, which of course is just my opinion, I prefer the Studio Series version. I think it is much more scale accurate, much more color accurate, and just overall better articulation, modern engineering. Just, in my opinion, a better set of Constructicons and a better Devastator than the original Combiner Wars version. Don't get me wrong, I'll always have a soft spot for this figure and love it, but I think Studio Series 86 Devastator is a much-needed upgrade. And lastly, but not leastly, of course, here he is with a CG image of how Devastator appeared in the 86 movie and the G1 cartoon. And other than a few little nitpicks such as the off-centered legs and the little gap here and some other minor things, I think they did a phenomenal job at capturing Devastator in figure form. I don't think we're going to need an upgrade on Devastator anytime soon. I think this guy will be definitive for years to come. What a great comparison. So this has been my review for the Transformers Studio Series 86 Devastator, and I think this guy just came together beautifully. Each Constructicon, not all perfect, but all enjoyable enough figures. But when you get them together as Devastator, this is what you're buying these figures for. This is what you're spending your money on, and it's certainly worth it in my opinion. I love the way this Devastator looks. He has a great shelf presence, looks amazing with the other 86 figures, and overall is just a great addition to any collection. He is super screen accurate to what we saw in G1 in the 86 movie. Great modern articulation for a big combiner of this size, and just overall a fun figure to play with. I love breaking him apart into the separate Constructicons, combining him back up. All of the transformations are fluent and fun, and I do really enjoy messing around with this figure. And you can't say that about all the combiners, especially older combiners, like even the Combiner Wars Devastator. Not the greatest to get off the shelf and mess around with, but this guy, I have a feeling for years to come, I'll be picking up off my 86 shelf and transforming back and forth, because I do truly think he is an awesome figure. So if I had to rate this Devastator on a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give him a 9.5 out of 10. Nearly perfect. A few slight nitpicks. The knees, of course, are off-center. That has been a big complaint throughout the Transformers community. It It is a little annoying and a bit of an eyesore, but doesn't throw the figure off for me. What does even more than that is this little gap right here. Wish they could have closed that up, but other than those two complaints, I think this guy looks really awesome. I don't even complain about the backpack because I'm not going to stare at the back of my Transformer, but I think this guy looks really, really cool. Hopefully you think the same, and if so, you definitely need to pick this guy up before he skyrockets in prices. They've already said there will be no gift set that comes with all 6 Constructicons, so go ahead and get on it and get your 86 Devastator. So that is my review for Devastator. Don't forget, never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. I do have a few other new Studio Series figures. Those will be the next reviews coming out on the channel. But until then, roll out. Get yourself a Devastator. Peace.